We check out this poll here. He's got 60% at Dynasty, 36% at Road to Glory, 3% at Other, and 1% at Ultimate Team. What is up, everybody? It is Jake back with the MF Film Room. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things EA College Football, hit that red subscribe button. Do it. I have a special offer for you. If we can get this channel to 1,000 subs by July 14th, 2 days before the early access comes out, I want to be getting the deluxe edition for one of my subs. Like I said, that deluxe edition, I will be getting that for you, a $99.99 value there. I'll be just getting you, it'll get for $100. I will be giving you that code. If you've already pre-ordered the game, I'll just send you $100. We got videos coming out about news, analysis, how-tos, and like I said, if we get to 1,000 subs by July 14th at midnight, one of my subscribers is going to get the game for free, the deluxe edition, either code or $100 in cash to them. So hit that red subscribe button, also hit the like button as well, and follow me on Twitter/X. That fam is growing. And if you like college football content, go to my other channel, link in the description, Master Football with Jake Posey. But enough about all that EA college football content, let's go. So I saw something the other day online that I want to talk about, because have you guys ever seen something that you're like, oh my God, I haven't heard about that thing forever. That thing still exists? Check this out. So last week, May 19th, former Pro Bowl and All-Pro running back David Johnson has officially retired. And I was thinking to myself, David Johnson, I remember him from somewhere. Who is this guy? David Johnson, all the way back in 2016, had 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns, his only 1,000-yard running season of his career. That was all the way back in 2016. So I use that as an example because that's one of those things that you don't really pay attention to. Then you look down, you look up, and you're like, that guy retired? I remember him from way long ago. You think about how long ago it was that David Johnson was playing at that Pro Bowl high caliber level, 2016. And NCAA Football 2014, the last time it was made, was 3 years before that. I mean, it is crazy to think about this. Malik Neighbors, who just got drafted to the New York Giants, he is... The last time this game was made, so he was born July 28th, 2003. So just a couple days before his 10th birthday, he was still 9 years old, was the last time that NCAA Football 2014 was made. So if you're thinking about this, the game was made when he was just about to turn 10 years old. He was 9 years old. He went from the game being made to him being in the NFL. It was 10 years. Think about this. Malik Neighbors probably never grew up with the game. He might have been one of the sickos community playing the game here and there, downloading the rosters from Pasta Padre. But a guy like Malik Neighbors, 11 years from the time the last game came out until now, he went from 9 to 20 years old. He just grew up without the game. So in that time, in that big distance from when the game came out until the game is coming out now, there's been a lot of changes. It's gone away. Madden's moved into the forefront. There's a lot of different things here. There's almost an old community of EA College Football / NCAA football communities mixing in with the new community of the Madden community that's kind of been existing the whole entire time. They've almost had two different worlds. They're going to be intersecting with EA College Football when it comes out in the next couple months. What I want to do is use this as an opportunity to discuss that, because there's a lot of things that happen with these two communities mixing, and I want to make sure I address them because there's two big game modes where both of these groups kind of don't necessarily see eye to eye with each other. Let's get into that right now. So when you think about these communities, they are very similar but distinctly different in many different ways. So the EA college football community / the old NCAA community that's coming over. So for them, they're typically actually an older fan base, not only in the fact the game hasn't come out in 11 years. A lot of these people, as an example, I was 11 years younger when this game came out the last time. Thinking about that now, I haven't played the game since. I've been playing NCAA 2014, but now it's going to have next-gen graphics, next-gen functionality, everything like that, a lot better than it was before. They'll work out the kinks. I don't deny they're going to handle that. But you think about that, the older fan base, even with college sports is typically an older fan base as well, just because college sports fandom is usually alumni. And the last time the game was played, that person who was 19 is now 30 years old. Also with that, though, is with the EA college football community, they were kind of just forced to adapt without the game. EA College Football revamped. They've got, people were playing NCAA 2006. That was the last one that was kind of listed off as one of the top ones, NCAA 2014, NCAA 2006. But again, many of them, like again, I know this from most of the people I've talked to who are fans of the older iterations of those games, they would still buy the game if there was no likenesses in the game. Arch Manning does not move the needle for any of those old players. They do not care. They're used to downloading rosters, custom rosters here and there. They're totally fine about doing that. Also want to make sure we're clear about that. With the EA College Football, their number one game mode is Dynasty. The sickos have already said it. The fact that even, it sounds like the developers of the game know it as to whether or not the people who are in charge of the developers understand that. That's a whole different situation. We will get into that in a second here. Talking about Madden, though, Madden is typically going to be a younger fan base. They've grown up with the technology. They're not going to be surprised with, spectacular catch, catch in traffic, a run after catch animations that they have. They're not going to be surprised for superstar abilities. They're really going to break that down and understand it a lot better than a lot of the new EA College Football community fans from the previous games. And then also Madden's number one game mode by far is Madden Ultimate Team, bar none, not even close. So breaking that down, I want to make sure we can discuss that because there's a couple differences here. Both of them are going to have the same functionality. It is going to operate a little bit differently in terms of importance, how it's going to go here and there. Let's talk about Dynasty versus franchise. So both of them have a team career mode, for lack of a better term. For NCAA, EA College Football, it is Dynasty. For Madden, it is franchise. So for Dynasty, the way that it works, a regular season is going to be 12 games, whereas in franchise, the regular season is going to be 17 games. Postseason as Dynasty is going to be a little bit different. It's going to have, you have conference championships. That's a postseason game. You've got bowl games. You've even got now the playoff. As to whether or not the playoff is going to be editable, no indication on that at this point. But we see with franchise, it's basically just the playoff. You got the playoff, you play your 17 games, you got your playoff, you go on from there. Roster formation in Dynasty, and again, the reason why EA College Football community is so into their Dynasty mode is because recruiting is so much better, in their opinion, as opposed to Madden's, free agency and drafting. So for them, for the roster formation in Dynasty, it's a lot of recruiting, and recruiting is very, very hands-on. Now, again, it is, the rich get richer. It's hard to be, Akron and have the number one recruiting class year after year unless you're having it on easier game modes. Again, we can talk about that in a second here. Also talking about the transfer portal, which is basically going to be operating the same way as recruiting, but it's going to be just for current players. Then you talk about franchise for Madden. It's going to be the draft, which is basically means you're kind of slotted into your draft picks. You can trade for more draft picks. You can do things like that. But for the most part, you're slotted into your draft picks. And then free agency actually operates more like the transfer portal and recruiting does, where it's kind of a free-for-all there. And basically, the people who have the most money typically can get the best players. And in college football, that's actually kind of what happens. Now, unique to both of these, so unique to Dynasty, is the fact that, especially in Dynasty and just in the college football game in general, there's a huge variation in play styles. You could maybe argue that there's nothing that really looks like the Ravens in the NFL, and that's true. But you think about the Texans and the Niners and the Rams, they all kind of come from that Mike Shanahan system, that, that West Coast zone run sort of system that they have out there. But you think about the college, I mean, you've got go from Air Force to Tennessee to Wake Forest to LSU. There's just so many different offensive styles that you can run. Ole Miss to USC. There's lots of things that you can do. So there's huge variation in those play styles. I mean, you think about the Mountain West. I'm a Mountain West fan. You think about the Mountain West. You've got Sean Lewis out there at San Diego State. They're going to be an air raid team. Colorado State's an air raid team. Air Force is a triple option team with the flex bone. You've got Wyoming's got a lot of two-back. Boise State's a multiple team. There's so much variation in that conference alone. Expand that across 134 teams. It's going to be like that a lot. You also think about the unique to Dynasty is the pageantry. People love the rivalry trophies. People love the fact of the entrances. There's a reason why in Madden, unfortunately, there's not much variation in the pageantry of that. They basically just want to play the game. And then also with Dynasty, one of the things that seems like it's a negative, but some people see it as a positive, is the huge roster turnover from year to year. So you think about that from college football, is that every year you've got at least, 1/4 of your team is going to be graduating, and even crazier is, potentially, depending upon how they do with the transfer portal, you could have 20 guys on top of that want to leave every year in the transfer portal. So it's the tons and tons of roster, turnover. The most important coach in all of coaching is college football head coach. You can see because of how crazy it can get out there. But then with franchise, it's a little bit different. So the people who play franchise, people just want to play with the best players in the world. Best players, best teams. I want to play with, I want to play with Patrick Mahomes. I want to play with Josh Allen. I want to play with Lamar Jackson. And they want to lock those guys up for 10, 15, 12, 13, however many years it is, they want to lock them up for that long period of time. I want to take Malik Neighbors. He's 20 years old right now. I wanted to play until he's 37 years old and he retires. You can do that on Madden, whereas with EA College Football, unless you manually enter those new players in every year, after 4 years, those players, those stock rosters, everything's going to be computer-generated players from there. All right, the next big one here is Ultimate Team. And I want to make sure that we can understand the thing about Ultimate Team and the reason why these communities are a little bit different from the outset here. So the first year that Madden Ultimate Team came out on Madden specifically was down here with the 2011 game. You see the fact that it came out here on January 7th. So about 6 months, 5-6 months after the game came out, they came out with Ultimate Team as a downloadable game mode. So Madden 11, every game from Madden 11 up until now has Ultimate Team. And crazily, I didn't even really notice this, but the only NCAA that had Ultimate Team was 2014. So think about this. The last game of the series was the last one to have it. So never really had the ability for this community to build up that momentum to get behind this game mode. You come down here and see Ultimate Team was on there. But again, this was the last game because of the Ed O'Bannon case and the fact we were without this game for 11 years. So they only had the ability to build up the momentum with the community with this. And unfortunately, every single year from there, people would just be downloading new rosters. They wouldn't be worrying about getting these new player packs. And just to make sure we're clear about something here, let's make sure we understand how big EA's emphasis on Ultimate Team is. 29% of their revenue in 2020 came from Ultimate Team microtransactions. Now that's across FIFA and Madden and NHL and NBA, all those games out that they have. So but I'm basically saying this is to pretend like this is not going to be an aspect of EA College Football is just being ignorant. It is such a big portion of EA's bottom line. Now, one thing that a lot of those EA College Football fans are worried about is the fact that it is one of those things that it can kind of take over. So you see that this was a post from a while ago, but this I said, how much money have y'all spent on Ultimate Team? This is called mutthead.com. So some people say, oh, I only did it for the game. Other people said $800, $235, $250. So again, this can happen a lot. $35 net, $550, $96. So this is one of those things that it can really spiral out of control with how the spending works. And I think what happens with the Madden Ultimate Team community is it's probably one of those things where it's a Pareto distribution where 50% of the money comes from 1% of the Madden players, and those 1% are the Ultimate Team crazies. They spend $800, they spend $100, they spend $200, whatever it is. But again, what the EA College Football community, I think specifically is worried about is this kind of taking over, as this poster here said a couple years ago with Madden. So this poster a couple years ago basically said, I feel like EA really abuses the microtransactions model with Madden 18. That was Madden 18. 7 years ago when that came out. So if you think about that, ever since then, they've only pushed more and more in that direction. A lot of people have been critical of Madden in the fact that they haven't really been updating those game modes that are not monetizable. They've only been pushing it towards the monetizable portion of items. And I can tell you this much right here. As much as it is important to Madden and their fans, and even if you say it's not important to their fans, again, this right here, ever since this post, it's only gone up. But even with how important that is to Madden fans, it's not necessarily that important to the EA College Football fans. So coming over here and checking out Bordeaux, he's awesome. I wish I actually could collab with him at some point. But he had a post he had where he said that he posted this. He got 7,800 votes, almost 8,000 votes. And he said, what is the number? What game mode are you most playing? Are you playing with first when EA College Football comes out? We check out this poll here. He's got 60% at Dynasty, 36% at Road to Glory, 3% at Other, and 1% at Ultimate Team. Again, it's going to be in the game, but these are different communities and they have different emphases here. I want to make sure I talk about that. So again, when you break down Ultimate Team, there's a couple differences. Again, it's mostly the same, but there's some unique things you need to discuss here. So for Madden, it is the number one game mode. Okay, you can pick from the greatest football players that have ever lived. As an example, you can get Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson hasn't played in a couple years. People still know who he is. Barry Sanders, Peyton Manning, Jerry Rice. You get those players, you're recognizable, you understand who that is. Whereas for EA College Football, there was only 1 year of history with the brand, NCAA Football 2014. You can pick from the best players of historical players, but as opposed to those 32 NFL teams, there's 130 plus teams. As an example, these are all College Football Hall of Famers. Derek Johnson, Mike Haas, CJ Spiller, Eric Crouch. The sickos will know who that is. But if you are a Madden player and you've never played EA College Football before, I wouldn't be surprised if you wouldn't know any of those players where they played in college. Now, I want to make sure that we can bring each other together because I'm not trying to say that it's all Madden players' fault. It's Madden community's fault. Again, EA has their own hand in this because they're trying to push milking their customers for as much money as possible. That's on them in that way. However, I think there's a way that these two communities, and more so these two communities from the top level, can intersect with each other and still not hurt the game in the ways that they think that they're worried about it. So you think about this here. For Ultimate Team in Madden has the players who are much more recognizable. That's already going to be there. There's going to be Ultimate Team in EA College Football, but again, it's going to be different because when you open up a pack in EA College Football, it's going to be less satisfying because of the lack of name recognition. Now, you could be like, oh yeah, well, let's have Tom Brady. Tom Brady's college career wasn't that great. There's a reason why he was a 6th-round pick, but like Chad Henne was a Michigan quarterback, and he arguably had a more decorated career with Michigan as opposed to Tom Brady did. You think about Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara in college didn't have the greatest career in college, but his pro career has been fantastic. Josh Allen's last year in college was not that good in terms of stats, but he has absolutely blossomed into a great quarterback. So because of that, I think that, again, you might just be able to just copy it. Oh, yeah, you can get a Mississippi Valley State, Jerry Rice card. That's where he played college, in case you guys don't know. There could be a CJ Spiller played at Clemson. But you can get those cards, obviously. But I'm betting that the name recognition will be more important for Madden Ultimate Team than it will be for EA College Football Ultimate Team. I do think, though, to make EA happy, because EA is going to have microtransactions in their game, what they're probably going to have is in a couple different things. I think jersey packs, there's way more jerseys in college football. There's way more teams. There's alternates. There's classics. There's futuristic jerseys. There's so many cool things they're willing to do that they're not bogged down with the NFL and all those requirements for selling jerseys here and there. So those jersey packs. I also think that dynasty boosters, recruiting boosters, training boosters, those things can happen. I know that in NCAA Football 2014, you could have those. I usually turn them off. I don't play those, and I don't do that cheap crap, okay? But you can have that if you wanted to. I also think that there could be some team builder items, as an example, on the old game. You could have 12 slots on the standard game, but if you wanted to buy more slots, you could buy 24 slots, 36 slots, whatever it is. You can do something like that. So there's going to be microtransactions in EA College Football at some point. As to whether or not there's the primary maker of those microtransactions is going to be Ultimate Team, we'll see that at some point. I also want to make sure that here that's cool with this is that Road to Glory and Superstar mode, your Road to Glory player is going to be able, there's going to be people who are going to take that from high school up into EA College Football, play that career, and then they're going to go to Madden, and then they're going to retire with that. That is still going to be something that is going to be cool across those games. So I was worried at first. I was like, oh man, how are they going to intersect these two communities? They're going to ruin each other. But I think that realistically, there's a good intersection with these teams. People are still going to go to the game that they want for the reasons that they want. Madden players, more Ultimate Team oriented, more PvP kind of stuff. Whereas for EA College Football players, more Dynasty PvP, but within the context of Dynasty, some Ultimate Team as well. So there's a way that they can both exist. Hopefully EA understands that and builds this in a way to where, Madden doesn't feel like EA College Football and EA College Football doesn't feel like Madden. So I've been a big time cheerleader of EA College Football. The fact that the game's coming out, there's so many cool things, but the fact that we are going to have the intersection of these two communities. What is the Madden community going to do and change about EA College Football and vice versa? I think that there's going to be a way that both of them can coexist. Is Ultimate Team going to be as influential on Madden as it is on EA College Football? Is Dynasty going to hopefully introduce some new lifeblood into franchise for Madden? We're going to see that eventually down the road. All right, guys, that's it. Get in the comments right now. Let me know what you think about all this. Are you an EA College Football fan and you're worried? Are you a Madden fan and you're looking forward to the game? What do you guys think? Get in the comments and let me know. You made it all the way to the end. Remember my offer. If we get to 1,000 subs by July 14th, I will get one of my subscribers the game, the deluxe edition, either code or $100 cash in case you already bought the game for free. So hit that red subscribe button. Also like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you so much for being here. That is it. I am out.